welcome to Your Hometown Solutions, where experts meet to discuss everything from foreclosures to Feng Shui. And in the studios with us today is our Feng Shui expert, Elaine Bartlett. She's calling into the studios today. She has a show right here on Talk Network Radio Tuesdays at 3 o'clock, where you can hear all kinds of information from Elaine. And also you want to visit her website, and we'll give you that information, and you might want to jot that down. In the studios with me today is Jonathan Lack from Lack & Lack Chartered, Waterview Realty, Waterview Title. How about adding two or three more businesses to that?
I think that covers it for now, keeping myself pretty busy with all things real estate. But I am excited to have Elaine back because we had such a great response from last week's episode regarding Feng Shui, and people were looking for more information, more descriptions, and how they can use the Feng Shui. So welcome, Elaine Bartlett. If you can tell us a little about yourself and a little about Feng Shui, that would be wonderful.
Well, Jonathan and Jean, nice to be with you. You know, the time is short. Trust me on this one. I've been at it a long time, and people can go on my website and find out how long. What I'm anxious to do is give information about their homes, whether they're buying or selling or living in it full time. And actually on my own show in the next few weeks, because the year is changing, everything about Feng Shui changes once again. And your home is a healing center, first and foremost. If you're not healthy, there's no point in kind of dragging a body around. It's too much effort. So Feng Shui is medicine. So for the buyer, the seller, the you living in it, let's talk you first. You need to make sure, as I've spoken on almost every show, that the clutter is at a minimum or none. And some of you can't bear to part with things, and it's kind of an addiction. You're going to have to buck up in this year of new beginnings and let go of the past. Don't turn back. Don't be pulling stuff out of the garbage. Let it go. Then take a walk through your house. What really needs to be cleaned? It's horrifying to see when I go into homes how some of you live. I really feel like, the scolding parent at times. But you don't make your bed? Are you kidding me? You're going to climb back into a scuzzy little nest at night without it being fresh and ready for your sacred body. Your body is sacred because it houses the sacred, so how could it not be sacred? And areas that, you're looking around at things that people have given you and you no longer even speak to the person, or it goes back 3 divorces ago and you're still looking at something that,
Tell the story about the picture.
Get rid of it. Whatever
the mother-in-law's picture or whatever it was.
Well, the mother-in-law gave it to you, and you hated it then, and you still hate it.
And you hate to walk through that room because the picture's hanging there.
Mm-hmm. And this is true whether it's you're going to buy or sell. It's just about you. It's always about you.
Well, one thing, Elaine, you had said, and I've, again, for the audience out there, I will let you know that a number of years ago it was before I had met Elaine, another Feng Shui consultant came to our office and came through and made recommendations that we make a variety of changes. And sure enough, after we did so, the energy in the office was substantially improved and business improved. And while many would say, oh, well, the economy was just improving, call it what you will, we made changes and the energy improved and things got better. So again, this unseen energy that people, because they can't see it, feel it, taste it, touch it, they think it's just hocus pocus. But the reality is we all live in a world filled with energy, and there's positive energy and negative energy. But where I was going, because of that consultant a number of years ago and a comment you just made, Feng Shui seems to be, to some degree, calendar-based. In other words, what worked this year won't necessarily work next year, and it has to be revisited because of, I guess, is it cycles of...
It's patterns of energy. Look, you read the tides every day. If you're a fisherman, if you're a boater, if you're a high diver and you want to jump into the water, you don't want to jump in when the water's out.
You know, we sometimes people will look at this like, I don't understand feng shui. How can that work? But yet they'll believe in the farmer's almanac that tells you when to plant corn during a full moon or whatever it is. They'll understand that and they'll get it. And that's a whole belief system. That is putting your belief into what the whole cosmic energy is all about. So I'm always wanting people to be open to having you come in, even if they're not considering buying or selling a home, taking a look at where they're at with their house, because there's sometimes just some few things that you would recommend them do. Do you have maybe something off the top of your head that, besides the clutter, that some people could do that might bring a little bit more peace and harmony?
Absolutely. This year, now remember, my year hasn't started yet. It will start the end of January, January 28th. And at that time, both the direction of the west and the east will need some adjustments because it's a harsh energy. And so what we're going to be recommending is no heavy-duty construction in either of those areas. No loud banging, because someone's going to feel the results of that in a way that won't always be so fortunate. So it's a case of, what are you doing to the land? What's happening? Let's suppose you have an east front door. You're not doing anything, but the guy across the street is building a new house. That's just as dangerous. So there have to be what we call adjustments or enhancements. It's like going to a chiropractor and put this here, move this there. It's all about protecting yourself and honoring your chi. And chi is just a fancy word for your life force.
Well, and what makes you happy? And again, just slightly getting off of feng shui per se, but if someone's going out for a job, I know when I used to interview for positions, I always maybe bought a new outfit or got my really best suit out and cleaned my car, and somehow going with a clean car and a new outfit and a new haircut gave me the confidence, gave me, I felt good. And the same with the house. Sometimes you just need to give it a haircut. You need you need to clean it up a little bit to get that positive flow. And I know one last thing, and I know we've talked about this previously about clutter. How much it makes me happy, and I know other people too, is to clean out that closet, and how it gives you such self-worth after you've cleaned it out, and you go, oh, I feel so much better now walking into this closet. And then it seems like everything, now you want to get on a cleaning spree because it feels so good to have that closet cleaned out, that spare bedroom, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing, because people in this culture have become so separated from nature and so scientific in their thinking, they're no longer considering the concept that your home, not only is it an extension of yourself, it's a living, breathing entity. And that thought seems to terrorize people, which is absolutely astounding to me. But it's a living, breathing entity. And if it's unhappy, you're going to be unhappy, I'll tell you. I've seen it time and time again.
I just read, you bring up, when you brought up living entity, you made me think. I had just recently read an article, and I had intended to save it, but I see my phone got shut down, so it's not open on my phone right now. But it spoke to plants and plant life and different types of plants that create different environment in your home and things. Does that play into feng shui? Is feng shui?
It's a huge piece of feng shui. If you have a dead tree in your southwest corner, you have jeopardized your relationship. It's that simple. I have a couple, and I shake my head because they just couldn't, they wouldn't hear me on this one. They built a new home, and they planted an army of spiky, thorny bushes all along the front of the house. Their relationship is now spiky and thorny.
Right.
So you want to pay attention to the plants. There's some plants that are actually called money plants. You know, in Asia they use a lot of bamboo because it's durable and it's life-giving and flexible and quick-growing. So, yes, there's very simple things like that. I actually oftentimes will suggest a plant. However, if the person says, I don't have a green thumb, they'll all die, well, then common sense would dictate I don't tell them to run to the nursery and get plants. But what I may suggest is use the mineral kingdom. I can't tell you how many children that have had bedwetting issues, and we either changed the location of the bed or I used crystals to grid the energy of the bed. And it's a very simple technique. You simply put 4 crystals between the mattress in the 4 corners in a way that, they're into the far into the mattress so that either the child doesn't swallow them or they keep falling on the floor, and bedwetting is done.
That's amazing. I thought you were going to say it keeps them up all night and then they don't wet the bed.
Oh, ma'am, no, they can get a sound sleep, bed problems over. So you can use the different kingdoms in the world of Feng Shui because both plants and the mineral kingdom, they're elements. So once again, it approaches Feng Shui from a healing platform, not from the woo-doo, whatever nonsense, And I'm telling you, color is important, but it's the lesser of the important things. Some people, when Feng Shui came into the United States, they were under the mistaken thought that, I better paint this room yellow and this room blue and the front door this and the back door that. I would go into those homes and I'd get a headache because it was insane.
I just left the house.
Anything other than making them confused and dizzy and often frightened, and it would harm their resources as well.
And a lot of it is just that feeling that your eye, just seeing even an empty house can look cluttered. I just showed a house earlier this afternoon that had 6 types of flooring in it. Three were wood that were all different colors that met up with each other. And when you walked in, it was a vacant house, but it was so busy and it's so many things coming at you that my stomach actually felt sick. I could feel nauseous just looking at all this flooring, and there wasn't any furniture in it at all.
Well, Jean, you invited me a couple of months ago to go into a little condominium that wasn't selling, and we walked in, and there was barely a stick of furniture in it, and it was cluttered. It was cluttered with whatever had happened in that house. And if memory serves me, we did our thing in there, and that house sold very quickly.
Exactly. There was just a little wicker set, and we just moved that in the different direction because it did. That was a focus when you walked in. You saw that, and we moved it to the side and took some of our office information and put it in another room, and it was a completely different feel for that house. But
I also energized it. I space cleared it.
Yes.
I took the sticky stuff that you couldn't see and dissipated it. And that was the bigger drawback. It was what you couldn't see far more than the little wicker little pieces. What you couldn't see, you could feel. And even if you say, but the person is so dense and thick, they're not feeling anything, and, they're addicted to their television, I beg to differ. We all feel. And so fix it, to clear it. That's all.
We speak of what we see, what we feel. Just out of curiosity, where does something like aromatherapy come into play? Is that related?
That's a very big part of it, aromatherapy, what you smell. Now, many realtors, because when I started in real estate, it was in the 80s, so I didn't know Feng Shui then. But we were trained early on. Have the cinnamon cooking in the oven. Have the vanilla, So it was the trick right then and there.
Yeah, everybody knows baking the fresh cookies.
Absolutely.
You walk in and smell the cookies.
Sure,
but from a day-to-day living, again, let's get away from the sale of the home for the moment and just get into the day-to-day living. I'm living in my home.